With this update, pipeline support has been added for generating new worlds. It's pretty flexible. You can generate the hydraulic erosion-based landscapes I've supported before, or more stylized things like islands or plateau plains. Or you can go absolutely wild and use custom images to generate pretty crazy landscapes. All of this is enabled by the new UI-based pipeline system I've recently added to Mundus Vivus in version 0.12. In this video, I plan to cover the following. What is a pipeline? How to create and run your own pipelines. And then the basics of my pipeline implementation. So, what is a pipeline? Well, pipelines are not my original idea. Some common examples are the render path system in Blender or the shader graph in Unity. They provide graphical interfaces to easily generate shaders. They trade optimal performance for abstraction and ease of implementation, which in 95% of cases is a good trade-off. So, how do they work? Well, a pipeline at its core consists of three parts. Nodes, some kind of operation, calculation, or simulation. Ports, stores data. Nodes use ports to define input and output data. Links, connects ports between nodes. They specify how data is propagated. In my implementation, some example nodes could be to generate textures from perlin noise, to save or load textures to or from disk, or run hydraulic erosion simulations. Some examples of port data types could be basic types like integers, decimal numbers, or text strings, but also more complex data types like textures and hexagonal meshes. Some examples of pipelines could look like this. Some could be small and straightforward. Here starting with generating some perlin noise, then modifying it with some hydraulic erosion, and lastly sampling the texture onto a hexagonal mesh. Other pipelines are bigger and more complex. Here, multiple layers of noise are generated and combined to create a more interesting initial height map. Then, several erosion passes are performed with different parameters. The end result gives a more complex looking map. Pipeline can be used to generate worlds that we run gameplay on, or a pipeline can be run just on its own for exploration purposes, or for saving textures to file. You could, for example, use my pipelines to generate textures that you then import into some other software you've got, or do the opposite, generate textures somewhere else and load them into Mundus Vivus. This GUI-based world generation enables faster and easier experimentation and exploration. When I've worked with world generation in the past, most of the time was spent on testing parameters and finding good combinations. That tended to take much more time than doing the actual code implementation. With this pipeline, I aim to reduce the parameter tuning time. I have plans to implement other and more advanced erosion algorithms in the future. Then, this UI-based pipeline will become even more valuable. This UI approach also enables any user to experiment with these systems, including you. Maybe you will be able to find even better pipeline configurations than I have. If so, you can very easily share these pipelines with other users. The Discord server would be an excellent place for doing so. So, how do we generate new pipelines? I've provided a couple of pre-built pipelines. Some of these are included because they give interesting looking maps that you can use for gameplay. Others are included to serve as templates or examples you can use for making your own pipelines. So let's start by making a local copy of an existing pipeline. Let's pick this one. It's simple. We need to go back a step and then back to the menu for the copied pipeline to be shown. Let's open this list and voila, there it is. This has actually been saved locally to your disk. If we look under the My Games folder, you should have a Mundus Vivus folder. This then should contain a World Generation Profiles folder. Here we can find a newly created pipeline. This JSON file you could share with other users, and if they put it in their World Generation Profiles folder under My Games, then they can also run and modify it. Having selected the pipeline, we can open it in the editor. Here it is. The pre-built pipelines I've added tend to evaluate from left to right, so let's just look over it to see what it does. It starts with generating perlin noise. It's set to use a random integer as seed and will generate a 1024 by a 1024 texture. To be on the safe side, the texture is then normalized. Then there is a hydraulic erosion step. It will simulate the effect running water has on terrain over long time spans. Before inputting our noise texture as the bedrock input field, we multiply it with our vertical scale, here 1000 meters. This node up here specifies a lot of other input parameters to the erosion simulation. Things like how many iterations to run, what precipitation and evaporation values to use, a time step, and the overall strength of the erosion. Those parameters together with the bedrock texture goes in, and out we get a new bedrock height map. Here we normalize it and then use it to generate our hexagonal mesh. Here a hexagonal mesh is generated in the shape of a circle, the circle having radius 100, and where each hexagon is 1 unit across. The elevation value of each hexagon is sampled from the texture. Now we are almost done. The last step is to specify how the triangulated mesh used during gameplay should be created. The hexagonal mesh previously created is needed, but also maximum and ocean elevations. We need to specify an angle to determine where cliffs and mountains are created, and then there are some other optional modifiers we will skip for now. This is the unmodified pipeline. Let's add some additional nodes for easier debugging. Let's add 3 checkpoints. We will add one of these checkpoints after the initial noise has been generated, and the other 2 checkpoints after the erosion has been performed. In one of the post-erosion checkpoints, we will just use the bedrock values, and in the other we will use sediment and water as well. There is this evaluation button we can use for debugging. This will run the pipeline, but will not start a new gameplay session. After completion, we get some debug texts, which depends on what nodes we ran, but we can also step through the checkpoints we added. Here we can see what initial noise we generated, how it changed after erosion, and we can also see how the water and sediment data look. With these checkpoints, we can very quickly iterate by changing parameters in the noise or erosion nodes, or even add new nodes to see how they impact generation. We can also save textures to file. This node takes a texture and a path as inputs. Note that the texture should be normalized and that the path should be local from the My Games folder. Let's run the pipeline to save our generated texture. And here it is in the My Games folder. Let's change some erosion parameters, run the pipeline, and here we have another texture stored. This time, let's change the perlin noise frequency. Run the pipeline, and here is another texture. So now we can compare what effect our parameter tweaking had. This showed a basic example of how to modify an existing pipeline. Hopefully you can see the value in being able to very quickly explore parameters and node combinations, and see how they impact the generated worlds. For examples of more complex pipelines, you could look through some of the other predefined profiles. If you're looking for interactively editing worlds during runtime, then my product is not what you're looking for. For me, world generation is something I do in order to generate worlds that I later want to run ecosystem and economical simulations on. If you're interested in worlds you can interact with in real time, I can instead recommend Terraforma. I've not tried it out myself, but their project seems highly interesting. They use some similar hydraulic erosion simulations as me, but with a different aim and purpose. Check it out! Now, let's talk a bit about the pipeline implementation. When evaluating a pipeline, one starts by constructing a propagation tree of the nodes. This starts by identifying all endpoints in a pipeline, i.e. nodes that take input, but that has no output. You then crawl backwards, filling in your tree. Here the tree is layered, each layer being one step further away from an endpoint, and nodes within a layer can be executed safely in parallel. Evaluation is then done from source to sink, where after each node execution, the ports of any downstream nodes are updated. Thusly, data is generated and propagated through the pipeline. Let's look at some implementation details. In my implementation, each node implements an abstract base class, where there is just one layer of inheritance but a lot of implementations. Each node instance has an ID, a type, a list of in and out ports, and some execution logic, the logic being unique to each implementation. If we look at a specific node, here the array to hex node, it specifies its ports in its constructor. Here it takes one float array, or texture, and a float as input, and it will output a hexagonal mesh. The implementation is down here. It fetches data from its input ports, performs some calculations defined elsewhere, and updates the data of its output port. There are nodes with even simpler implementations, and there are those that are much more complex. The GUI representation of a node exists separately and is specified something like this. For a given node type, it specifies what kind of ports should be used, ranges for certain parameters, and sometimes tooltips. I like doing as much of UI work as possible through code, and only use an editor when absolutely necessary. For me, this gives me more control and makes my functionality more reusable for other features. I hate UI work. I really hate UI work. It often ends up being a lot of boilerplate and introduces object-oriented messiness. Because of this, I choose to actually buy an existing asset for some of the basic node graph functionality. I bought UI Node Connector 4 to be precise. It provides functionality for building node graphs during runtime in Unity, which is very much what my pipeline is at its core. It handles a lot of the drag and drop functionality, connection rendering, animations, and other nice stuff. I could 100% have done this myself, and I think my code would have been cleaner. Spoiler alert. The asset is very bloated with object-oriented stuff, and uses some soon-to-be deprecated function calls, which could cause issues in the future. I find its bloatedness hard to understand, and would have preferred something simpler and more procedural. But using this asset saved me time, maybe 2 to 4 weeks. And I would much rather spend those weeks on more world simulation or working on the resource extraction gameplay. So even though it's not written in a style I personally prefer, it serves its purpose well. I think it's worth it, and I can recommend it if you're doing something similar. So, now I hope you've gotten a basic introduction to this latest pipeline feature. The latest build is available on itch.io. If you try it out, please give me feedback. Is there anything that could be improved? Are there any extra nodes you would like me to implement in the pipeline? Did you encounter any bugs? Any of this feedback could be left here on YouTube as a comment, on the itch.io page, or in the Discord server. I love simulations, and I hope you do too. Thanks for watching.